Hey everybody, if you're looking for a Christmas tree this holiday season, look no further than Little Clyde's Christmas Tree Farm. They've got all kinds of assortment of trees out in the field. There's plenty of stuff for the kids to do. They've got train rides, they've got hay rides, and they even have a fire pit for all the adults. So look at these beautiful trees ready to go in your house for the Christmas season. And if you stop by the barn, and you'll see all the beautiful decorations that they have, a fireplace. They've got all kinds of drinks and snacks for you, and a place for even Santa to come. And you go upstairs, and there's a beautiful, beautiful assortment of all kinds of knickknacks and toys. And there's a beautiful Winterland train set that's set up there. And this thing is really, really cool. Got 2 trains that go around the track, and it's just amazing to see what they've put into this over at Little Clyde's. And so you can bring the entire family out and get you a Christmas tree and just enjoy the holiday spirit here at Little Clyde's Christmas Tree Farm. And this is veteran-owned and operated out at the Veterans Farm. So come on down and see Little Clyde and pick you up a Christmas tree. And I hope you guys all have a very Merry Christmas.
All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fade to black, and the thought of the wasted dreams of a nation down on its knees is it already over. Tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? It's over.
Good evening, everybody. It is Small Town Underground. How are you guys doing out there tonight? It feels like it's been a while since we've done a live stream, and it really has. It's been 3 weeks since we've actually done a live stream. Well, we've had so much content from the Christmas parties and the SEB and all these things that come out. So finally, we're kind of back on. I can't wait soon. We've got a really great New Year's show lined up with all of the original Second Amendment leaders around the area. It's going to be a blast. Antonio and I are got some stuff planned. We got some other stuff planned with Street Level America, Bananas and Peaches, you name it. So it's good to be back on the hot seat tonight live. And as you can see with me, I have a very special guest, our State Senator Colton Moore. And we're very, very blessed to have him in the studio tonight. It's been a while, and so we're going to play some catch-up with Colton. Obviously, and unless you live under a rock, you realize that he's running for the U.S. Congress position, the one that Marjorie Taylor Greene is vacating. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of education. We're going to meet Colton Moore. We're going to answer questions only in the comments, okay? We're going to try to keep this at an hour, okay? And we're definitely not going past. You know, we got Donald Trump coming on tonight doing his address. So I'm not going to be reading comments. It's questions only pertaining to Colton and his campaign. So, but I'm about to give it to him. We a lot of us, I know a lot of you guys out there watched that clown show event that happened today with Fonnie Willis, and as you could see, if anybody could see, Colton was sitting right behind her. So we're going to start right there, Colton. I want you to kind of tell us what happened today.
Today was an absolute circus show, but my favorite part about the whole day, Fonnie Willis is walking in. She's getting ready to take her seat, and she looks behind her, and she sees me, and she has a complete and total freak out. She's stunned. She looks me up and down and immediately says, I need a security. I need a body guy. I need him right here. And I was like, no problem, Fonnie. I was like, he can take a seat right here. I'm happy to move. I was like, welcome, sir. You can sit right here.
That's great.
I mean, it's absolutely everything that she had built up, living in her head rent-free. Mm-hmm. And then to finally see me in person, she was quite shocked.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, give us your overall take. Now, before we go into this, we will obviously point out that you were the state senator that a couple years ago you called for this special session of Georgia. Now, I'm not throwing names, but we're talking about you. You called for a special session after this whole RICO case, and you got censured by your own Senate chamber, by everybody else. You got punished for this, and now look at where we're at. We're December the 17th, 2025, and now we finally have this event, this hearing. How does it make you feel?
Man, it makes me feel vindicated in many ways. I mean, a lot of the dates that the committee was looking at today was going back to those same dates when this indictment first came out. I mean, you got to think about it. It seems like it was just yesterday, but it's been, 2 years now, and we still haven't gotten any closer to justice with Fonnie Willis. It was wild, those first caucus meetings. The caucus is where all the Republican senators get together behind closed doors and talk about what they're going to do. And at the time, we had a sitting senator who was among those who were indicted of the 18.
Right.
And we had this first caucus meeting, and the whole agenda of the caucus meeting was we're going to completely stay silent on everything that we have to do with Fonnie Willis because one of our fellow senators is being indicted. Mm-hmm. And so in that first caucus meeting, I was like, well, hold on, gentlemen. Right. I was like, that's not the job in the Senate, right? We have the power to investigate. We have the power to defund her, right? We've got all these legislative levers, but yet we're going to remain silent because we've got this guy here who's facing RICO charges, and his attorneys have advised us it's just going to make it harder on him.
Right.
And my immediate question back to them was, hold on, guys. If she's charging everybody with RICO, what are the depositions going to look like? Because now we're meeting with this guy who's charged with a mafia crime in our presence.
Right, exactly.
They shut the meeting down immediately. The caucus went no more. That was a Zoom caucus meeting.
Yes.
Okay? Then, obviously, we start formulating the plan to, hey, the only way we can take Fonnie Willis down is if we're in session. Mm-hmm. So we have to have a special session to come together and start taking actions against Fonnie Willis.
Right.
And obviously pushing that, they didn't want to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. And that's where we came up with the whole Rhino Wrangler thing. If you guys are actually Republicans, you actually you've sworn oath to the Constitution, you've sworn oath to the Republican Party, but now you're just going to sit silent and not do anything. I mean, some of those conversations I was having with senators at the time, they were like, well, Colton, I could be potentially indicted in this, and I don't want to bring any more attention to myself. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, it's not about you. It's about the citizens that are paying to fund Fonnie Willis right now. You represent 200,000 of those people. Mm-hmm. Go get the job done and sign on, and let's call a special session.
Right.
And they were so reluctant to do so. And we were putting so much pressure on them at the time. And there were hundreds of thousands of dollars from all across the country that was funding door-knocking campaigns. Mm-hmm. And they were going to these state senators' districts. They're knocking on their doors of their constituents and saying, sign on to Colton's special session, so let's hold Fonnie Willis accountable. And they're like, we gotta get Colton out of the caucus. Mm-hmm. So then we go down to Sea Island, all right, very fancy place. Mm-hmm. We're there for 3 days. We wake up each morning, and the whole purpose of the meeting and the way it was planned originally was to plan the next year's agenda.
Right.
But then the whole meeting became, what do we do with Colton Moore? So we would meet at 9 in the morning. We would finish up about 12 or 1 o'clock, and then everybody would go deep sea fishing and they'd go golfing. Okay, so it was just a real country club fraternity like thing.
Right.
But I present in front of the entire caucus, and they were so afraid that something was going to get leaked. Everybody had to take their smartphones, their smartwatches, their laptops, and everything got piled on top of this piano outside, and there was a state trooper and 2 sheriff's deputies around this piano, so that way everything that was said in that room, there was no way anybody could record any of it, okay?
My God.
And I was like, guys, I'm not going to silence in defense of freedom itself. So if you guys want to just kick me out of the caucus, vote right now and kick me out of the caucus, and I'll walk my happy tail home. Well, they wouldn't do it. So then they decided that they were just going to take the leadership of the caucus. We met like 7 o'clock on the last morning, and there's John Kennedy, there's Randy Robertson, there's Matt Brass, there's Jason Avatarde, there's Larry Walker. Who am I missing? I think Steve Gooch. So all the leadership of the state Senate caucus. And Kennedy goes, Colton, you obviously don't understand the law or the justice system. And he's just being all Mr. High and Mighty because he's an attorney. And I was like, Kennedy, you got to take off your litigator cap and put on your state Senate cap for a minute and recognize you're the only one who can hold this domestic threat to our Constitution accountable, Fonnie Willis.
Right.
I said, what we ought to do if you guys aren't going to do it is you ought to just go up the street over here to the National Cemetery and go spit on all those graves. And this senator gets up and he's like, how dare you say that? He goes, my granddaddy fought the Nazis at Normandy. And I said, well, my granddaddy fought the Nazis too, and both of those guys didn't go over there and risk everything for us to sit on our dead butt and not do anything about this situation. And it became a very emotional scene. I mean, because everybody finally sobered up in that moment and realized what was going on. But ultimately, they themselves voted to kick me out of the caucus, and I wasn't allowed to go play golf with them a few hours later. I had to go on a separate golf course with a separate person and not associated with the caucus because I was separated.
Crazy.
Just right then and there, ostracized.
Jesus, the thought of that. I mean, do you think here we are. What we just saw, the crazy clown show that we saw transpire today.
Yeah.
Fonnie Willis, that vile, nasty attitude of hers. Do you think that if they would have saw this coming, maybe they would have been a little bit more on your side?
I think so, too, because all those people, they're now running for lieutenant governor.
Yes.
Right? They all want these higher positions, and they all want a piece of the action now.
Right.
And it's like, guys, you could have had a piece of the action a long time ago, and we would have actually brought some justice. But that's just classic politicians waiting right up until it's election time and then trying to make a show.
Yes.
But what we did find out today, and think about it, Fonnie Willis, when she comes to the microphone, we start unveiling more and more about this deep, dark conspiracy that we've known all along.
Yeah.
This is only the second time she's had to face criticism.
That's right.
Right? And so what did we learn today?
Yeah,
Well,
we
learned some cool things. Think about this. When she first sends the letter out to Raffensperger and Kemp and Carr to withhold any evidence that they may have, okay, it's the same time that Jack Smith gets appointed as special counsel. It's the same time leadership from the DOJ resigns from the DOJ and starts working in Alvin Bragg's office. It's the same time that Nathan Wade is on the phone with the White House for 8 hours, okay, coordinating what?
Exactly.
So she wants to claim she's Miss Rico herself, and what we learned today is it very clearly shows there was some Rico going on with the White House and the coordination there.
A conspiracy.
A complete conspiracy. We also learned that Jeff DeSantis, not to be confused with Governor DeSantis, right? I hope they're not kin. But so this Jeff DeSantis guy has literally made hundreds of millions of dollars working for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Fonnie Willis, Charlie Bailey, all these dark Democrats that we see around, okay? And then we also learned today that there's just this magical account that the DA finally has.
A forfeiture account, right?
Yeah, well, we don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't know where this account came from and why there was this random check written out of it.
Yeah.
But it paid for this service at the time the same day she mails these letters to start tracking what is her earned media
Oh,
from
yeah.
this. Okay.
For like 2 different media companies or whatever she was saying.
And so it wasn't, they were looking at how much media district attorney is getting, how much Fulton County. The whole media buy was, what is Fonnie Willis getting?
Yeah.
And what we learned today, $600 million worth of earned media that she generated from this, from taxpayers. And then the other crazy thing was how much money, like tens of thousands of dollars, were spent in expenses coordinating with the J6 committee, and she has no idea why her office was coordinating with the January 6th committee. Completely oblivious to it. And anytime any of these tough questions came to her, her immediate response is, the only reason why you're asking me that is because I'm a black woman.
Yeah, because race baiting, or she tries to act like the boss lady, like, look at everything I've done. I'm the boss lady, but I don't know how that check got wrote. I don't know how. It's crazy. She was filthy. I gotta say this. I want to say this. Greg Dozal. I don't know him very well. I'm learning about him. I'm actually going to meet him this weekend. I was impressed because when I first started watching Colton, I was like, dude, I'd like to get up and just get. I was raging. I was like, how is this woman doing this? But man, by the end, I'm like, he kept his composure, did a really good job, and he did probably better than I could because, man, she was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And somebody like that, you just got to let them go off on the rails because they're going to start exposing themselves. They can't help it. I mean, she has symptoms of being a psychopath.
Yes,
ultimately, that's what she is. And a lot of people were frustrated with Greg right off the bat about him just letting her ramble. But at the same token, he treated it very much like a deposition. What are we really discovering here? And I think
I agree. You're right.
You're only going to discover more when you let her talk.
Exactly. You are 100% right because he did good. That's what I mean. He did a good job. It was calculated. And the more that she talked, the worse that she looked. And it was like, okay, I get this now. So. Yeah.
No, but that's great stuff.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Hey, I want to personally thank you, right, because your representation was taken away from me throughout the censure and getting locked up like we did last year, which we're not even going to go into tonight. We all know. But you were there today, and you represented me in District 14. I felt like after all these years, my state senator is in there right behind her, the very same one that got censured, and was not afraid to look her or anybody in the eye. And I just want to thank you for that.
I mean, Fonnie Willis and I were 2 feet apart from each other today, and a couple times she would try to look back, and I mean, I stared her just right down in the eye. I mean, it was for all the people that I represent across the state. I mean, and she felt that nervousness, and if nothing else, just my presence there, certainly,
she was
got her off
nervous.
her toes. Yeah.
Well, I feel vindicated because you were there, and I just want to tell you, I thank you for being there. That was great.
No, I appreciate that. Well, you know what? I appreciate you for all the hard work that you've done, not only in this podcast, but also for making sure our machine gun shoot this year was top notch. You bringing Chuck's Jeep down. I mean, was great. This was probably one of my favorite machine gun shoots we've ever had. Yeah. Super successful, and you made it happen for us.
Hey, I appreciate it. But you know what? Next year is going to be even better.
This will be the 5th annual.
The next year is going to be, we're going to be even better. That's going to be great. But I appreciate that. All right, guys, so we're going to stay on topic here. We're really trying to be done by 9 o'clock because of the Trump thing, and Colton has been going all day, and he's got a bunch more to do. So I'm going to jump in. So I want to tell you guys that I had a little bit of problem at the about 5 minutes in with some of the comments. So if I missed your comment, you can repost it if you posted one at the beginning, but we're only going to be doing questions tonight for Colton Moore, okay? And we'll get back to some of your comments. So Let's talk now. Let's move from this to Congress.
Okay.
So you have declared you're going to run for Congress, and I'm like, whoo, you crazy. You're going to jump right in this, and here you are. So talk to us about this decision and what your expectations are.
Sure. I mean, there's going to be obviously a lot of turnover and a lot of shakeup going on in state politics, but this is completely unexpected, never expected. Marjorie Taylor Greene to resign. It's a super sad situation. There are a few people who have put up as many Marjorie Taylor Greene signs around Northwest Georgia as I have. Yeah. And to see all the great things that she's done, all the great things that President Trump's done, and then to see this collapse in the way it has, it's just extremely sad. The timing of her resignation is also very sad for all of us grassroots folks who are out there on the campaign trail and getting those votes out. And this is going to be a really weird election in the sense that ultimately we've got to convince voters to come to the polls upwards of 3 times in the next 5 months. So got my work cut out for me in that regard. But at the same token, we've got this void. Northwest Georgia is one of the most, probably the most conservative place in the entire country.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you go back from the days of Larry McDonald, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, obviously, our neck of the woods, we understand what it means to have freedom, what it means to fight for it. And I think a lot of other districts, congressmen are always afraid to stand out and stand strong because they're like, oh, well, we're not being effective. Well, Northwest Georgia has a very good sense of understanding that being effective isn't always how many pieces of legislation you're passing, but how many pieces of legislation you're killing. What are you stopping? What are you doing to push the brakes down on bad legislation? And that void is now going to be left to either we fill it or some rhino fills it,
right.
And then that's a complete waste of what a great district we are. So that's why I'm running for this office, is to make sure that void is filled with someone who's going to be hardcore and is going to fight for everything. You don't want somebody that's just going to go up there and blend in with the curtains.
No.
And ultimately, this is the last 2 years of President Trump's term. I want to make sure we leave a great legacy for President Trump. I mean, the guy's turned around the economy before. I mean, everything that Joe Biden crashed us into a ditch, and President Trump's doing everything he can now, but he's got to have some fighters in Congress who are willing to continue to push that agenda forward, and that's what I hope to do going to Congress.
Good. Yeah, that sounds like a really good message. Obviously, some big shoes to fill with Marjorie. I mean, she's one of the people that sort of activated me to run my mouth like I am, because, fighters like you, I always tell people, and I think people can be a little jealous of us up here, because everywhere you go, and I work with a lot of people all over the state, and they're like, oh, you're from Marjorie and Colton's districts. That name recognition, because we've had 2 of the most effective leaders that I've ever seen. And I'll give you a little bit of criticism. People have asked me, especially the naysayers. You have people that don't like you, and they say the same things. Well, what's Colton done for us up here? Yeah. And I tell them the same thing. I'm like, look, Colton's been doing nothing but fighting from us. Fighting the deep state is what I consider. But they've also they've neutered you. They took you out of everything. And I think that people get rubbed the wrong way. But I think they're so used to that quid pro quo. And that, hey, you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch your back. I didn't elect you for that. I told you, I elected you to represent me in this crazy clown show that we got. And I think you've done it quite well. But I'm not looking for favors or handouts, and I think that's a criticism, and I don't know if you want to address that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of people want to define what is being effective.
Yeah,
well, effective at what? Raising your taxes, increasing regulation,
Yes.
increasing government spending. Well, if that's what being effective is, then I'm not very effective. I think we've got too many laws. I think we've got too many taxes, and I think the government spends too much. And when I'm up there and I'm fighting against those things, and we're stopping those types of things, then to me, that's being effective.
Exactly.
And if you think about it, some of this wild legislation, when these taxes get passed and these regulations, you're never going to pull these things back.
No.
So if you've got somebody there that can effectively stop these things from coming into place, you're essentially effective for who knows how long, decades essentially, if it's a bad piece of legislation. Ultimately, I think anybody running for office, any of your viewers, you ought to be asking the politicians, what are you doing to stop bad legislation?
Yeah.
Right? Because in any game, you've got an offense and a defense, and that defense is just as important.
I totally agree, and thank you for explaining that, because, again, what are we looking for here? What am I looking for in a representative? I'm looking for somebody who's going to safeguard my communities and my families. I don't need you over here giving us all this stuff that we need. You know what I'm saying? Or that we want. I'm looking for the stopgaps, because we've already been down that road, right?
And it's what's add on to that, the more they try to silence you, the louder you get. Right? I mean, the more John Burns has tried to silence us, right? Not having 18 state troopers lined up to stop us, right? The more they try to cut you out, that what they don't recognize is it just makes you louder and more effective.
Yeah, and we've got just a little bit of time, and I don't want to go into this, but I do want, since we got you on the show, and so many people have been affected by that day, all right? That day that all of that happened was absolutely crazy to watch that. Like, how does that make you feel now after a year, Like, I know I wasn't prepared for what happened that day, right? We kind of knew that it was going to happen and everything, but we were there all day filming you and just but like it changed sort of it just created this complete change in this state where it's like it opened up this, I don't know what you call it, man, like a chasm, like you could really, really see just how, like, why are they doing this to Colton Moore over a comment, for God's sakes, you know? But what's your take on all this after that?
To me, it was a complete and total win because we exposed who they were.
Yeah, we really, really did. Like, there's no question anymore, is
Right.
there?
And, I mean, Democrats, Republicans, I mean, everybody saw their rights taken away from them. And we saw clear tyranny, like third world country tyranny. You know, obviously, if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit that day, I mean, any reasonable person being put in that situation, you know, I'm a big boy. I've been in some fights, right? I went to alternative school when I was in public schools because I got into some fist fights, right? I mean, I've wrestled calves in the grass, right? I mean, when it comes to fighting, I can fight, but at the same token, that wasn't about me. It was about the people I represent and making sure their voices are going to be heard and represented. I had a constitutional obligation to be there that day. And what's so funny, these guys are so they're so tyrannical that they're willing to even send out one of their pawns, the speaker's attorney, the general counsel, a guy who's not even a real attorney.
He's not even an attorney,
That hasn't passed the bar.
You think about the providence that we've figured out between all that, just like you said, like, the guy's not even really an attorney.
Right. Now, think about it. This story is still very much ongoing, and we just had a development 2 days ago with it. But, you know, I go to the magistrate court, the only Republican magistrate judge in Fulton County, this Judge Wolf, and all we're trying to do is get probable cause, the lowest standard of the law. People get arrested for probable cause for scuffs at the QT gas station all the time. Right? Probable cause for assault. We got it on video. He broke the law, interfering with a legislator conducting legislative business. That's a law. Then he's practicing law without a license, very clearly. On the .gov website, it says he's the general counsel. Okay, this judge is quivering in his voice as he says, I find no probable cause that he's done any of these things. Okay, so then we appeal. We go to a Democrat, Fulton County Judge Williams, and she looks at the case. We get there, and none of the files from the magistrate court have even made it to the Superior Court. She decides she's going to hear the case anyway and review those files later, but they're doing literally everything they can to delay any type of justice in this.
Of course.
She makes a ruling yesterday or the day before now and says all of this has to go back to the magistrate court and start all over again.
Oh, my God. It's like, I know, but it's the same thing. We're seeing this in some of the counties around here. They're just passing the buck back and forth. Wow.
So we're still exposing corruption.
We are,
all the way through.
Absolutely.
And somebody's going to have to say, stand up and recognize they've sworn an oath and uphold that oath.
Agreed, man. Agreed. You know, I go back to the day, and I'm not here to name call, and I'm not calling anybody out, but again, I saw some victory videos from people and some comments from people who have never stood by any of this Fonnie Willis stuff, and then all of a sudden they're just in top gear, ready to go. I mean, what do you say? It's election season, right? So, my goodness, man. So, guys, be sure to share this as well. We're fixing to get into the comment period of this, and I'm going to go back up to the top. And if you got a question for Colton, you got a concern for Colton. Colton is running for District 14 U.S. Congress. Now is the time to ask him. Okay. So I'm going to start just kind of going in here. Good to see you guys, Charles, Angela. All right, somebody's watching from Rumble. Good, they got in Facebook jail. Barbara Pinson from Floyd.
They can't stop you on Rumble.
That's right. Andy says, okay, when Trump comes on, click over. Yes, all right. He says, thank you. Yes, these are some good comments, y'all. I'll read a few of them here. We're getting some people in here. Ask your questions now. We're going through them. Let's see. MK Brun, good to see you. Yeah, a lot of people watched that Fonnie Willis thing today, and it was wild. Orrin Wang, hey, congratulations, Orrin Wang. You know, he's got a book out now, his road of immigrating to the U.S., and I got it right here in the other room. Can't wait to read it and get him on the show. So, Tammy Loeb, yes, good to see you. Elvia Davila, prosecutors abandon victims and borders collapse. Criminals move in and innocent families pay the price. Yes. David Naha, good to see you. Said there's your Colton Moore supporter.
It's a hardworking Georgian, 12 hours a day. Let's go.
Yeah. Richard, let's see. Your state senator represented you on September 7, 2023, when he was the only senator standing with President Trump. And you know what? Let's talk about that for a second. He's right. Go back in the memory machine to just how many Republicans in the state were DeSantis, right? Nobody wanted Donald Trump.
Yeah.
All right? It was the truth. And I have no problem with Ron DeSantis. In fact, I think he's one of the best governors we have in this nation, what they're doing in Florida. But again, you were one of the only ones who was upstanding for Donald Trump during this entire thing. So
yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and then look back in the history when I was in the state house. I was the very first elected. Literally, no one can take this title, but me. I was the very first person to call for a special session to review the fraud in the 2020 election. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, Fonnie's going to come after you for that." Well, that's my job as a state representative. Right, is to call investigations, use that power.
Do you realize you're a state senator? You're not supposed to be rocking the boat, Colton. You're just supposed to get in line and just take your slop and go about it, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, people forget basic high school government, learning about the three branches of government. That legislative branch, not only does it tax you, it spends your money, but it also has the power to hold everybody else accountable.
Amen. Amen. Okay, Happiness Jamie says, this is super important. My friend sent a letter to Colton via Mallory Staples. It's regarding Judge Sharmila Williams, who is likely going to be not only removed from the bench but disbarred. She is overseeing Colton's case. This is a risk.
So, yeah, we just talked about her.
Okay.
So she heard the case, and she said, I'm ordering this case to go back to magistrate court. Okay. Ultimately, my real case is I'm still out on bail. If it wasn't for Georgia gun owners, you got a bumper sticker over here. If it wasn't for these guys, they bailed me out of jail.
Well, we had money we were ready. We had our
well,
cards
I'm glad
out.
you were there if they
Georgia
weren't.
gun owners said, we got this. I said, all right. But yes, Georgia gun owners, the best gun group in the entire world.
No doubt about it.
Hands down, the Dorr brothers, the best. If you are not a member of Georgia gun owners, you don't know anything about them. They are the top dogs of guns. And trust me that they're coming for your Second Amendment. Did you see Tim Walz? Just earlier this evening, you probably haven't seen it yet. This cat is up there. Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, is going to make some executive orders on against the Second Amendment in his state.
And he needs to stop the $8 billion going to Somalia first before he gets on that topic.
Yes.
But, I mean, my real case, still out on bail. No prosecutor in Fulton County was willing to take it up, so it's went to the Prosecutorial Attorneys Council, PAC, which is the same organization that had Trump's case. Hopefully they'll figure something out pretty quick, because I can't even sue John Burns right now, because if I did, they would just stay the case because they're making me the criminal.
Right.
And constitutionally, you can't even arrest a senator on a misdemeanor charge. It's absolutely
this is crazy.
obnoxious. Yeah.
They got in the gray area, and we're gonna force them to figure this out. So absolutely good question. Happiness, Jamie. Question for Senator Moore says, how to distinguish yourself amongst almost 20 candidates?
Yeah, I think that's real simple. I mean, like we just talked about, I was the first elected official to defend President Trump, calling for that special session to review the fraud in the 2020 election. Was willing to risk my relationship with all of those rhino Republicans and all the back scratching to defend President Trump against Fonnie Willis. I'm 100% pro-Trump. In colloquy, they even call me President Trump's floor leader in the state Senate. So obviously we have that. We also have I have one of the best voting records of any organization that's looking at that. I'm the only senator to have never missed a vote, not even a procedural vote. So I take my job very seriously in that respect. And, look at these hardline legislation that we've had, like, banning transgender surgeries for those under 18. Other than the author, I was the only other Republican that was even willing to go up to the floor and even speak on the legislation.
Right.
Sure, there's 20-something people. I don't know who these people are. Where have they been in the fight?
Exactly.
So I think that's probably the biggest distinction.
Very true. Okay. Let's see here. We had no logo. Okay, Michael Shane Cowan says. Okay, this is what Michael Shane Cowan says. We had absolutely no local representation from MTG. She never helped out when reaching out for help. Chuck Huffstetler as well. Will Colton be there for the local people as well?
Yeah, I mean, I have one phone number. It's the only phone number I've ever had. I don't have any intention of ever changing that phone number. Most senators, a lot of House reps, they have like 2 phones. I've got one phone number. You can always call it. The access getting into the state email account is sometimes pretty wonky. That's why I always just encourage people just to call me, shoot me a text message on my actual phone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. David Naha says, I have only one question. How do we thin the opposition of those throwing their hat in on the Republican side of the ballot? A jungle won't be effective against the left.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, my objective is to become the most viable candidate before Marjorie officially resigns. And obviously, my number one priority right now is raising money. I have to have the money to get the message out. And ultimately, I mean, if you have any money out there, Roy, go to coltonmoore.com/donate and keep the fuel in the fire so we can get the message out there. I mean, this is an investment in getting me to Washington to be there in the fight. You know, this isn't money that we're going to go eat steak and shrimp on. This is money that's going to push us into Washington to bring the fight there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did not get a chance to put the link up, but we will keep going. And you have a secret admirer, William Birdsong, but he didn't ask a question, so we're going to skip him.
And also about that donating money, I mean, recognize that when we're putting up the fight that we've been putting up, the lobbyists don't send money.
Of course not.
Right? And then we've got all this money stacked against us because the radical left lunatics and all the rhinos know that we're not going to be there to do their bidding. So they're going to spend all this money against us to do everything they can to make sure we don't get elected.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy. So, Mark Swanson, good to see you, Mr. Mark. He says, reminder, we filed a class action lawsuit against Speaker Burns, but it's sitting in court. So there's a class action lawsuit that's involved in your case too, and we hope to see that move forward as well. So
I mean, people deserve justice.
Yes.
They shouldn't have their voices silenced.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing Mark tomorrow at his event down in Rome. So that'll be great.
Yeah, Mark is really, really on fire in Floyd County. Man,
and a patriot that has proved himself.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few people who are willing to risk their liberty to make sure that the fight for freedom is heard.
Yeah.
And Mark Swanson is one of those people, and I have great respect for that.
Absolutely. We love Mark. All right. Charles Coker says, is Colton Moore on board with exposing and blackmailing and bribery scheme in Congress with Epstein files and others that have brought influence or blackmailed influence in Congress?
No, I mean, the whole government runs like a mafia. All right, blackmail is all over the place. I mean, I think anybody you talk to who's worked in Washington, I mean, blackmail, that's how they get people to do whatever they want to do. I mean, ultimately, for me, I'm not worried about blackmail because Jesus has already saved me. He's already forgiven me of all my past sins. And my sins are between me and the Lord, right? And if you don't have anything against you, they're just going to make something up anyway. Not worried about it. The stuff that they've made up about me in the past, I mean, you just got to let it roll off of you like a duck in a rainstorm, you know?
Absolutely.
But with the Epstein files, man, that Epstein file deal, and obviously Marjorie and Trump, you know, they got pretty heated on this thing. But I tend to take President Trump's side, and this may not be very popular with a lot of folks, but I got to think he's looking out for the best interest of the country in his delay of that. I don't believe for a second that President Trump is in that list in any negative way whatsoever. Joe Biden would have told us. Barack Obama would have told us. Okay? But at the same token, it's who are the world leaders that are on the list? I mean, you think about President Trump going to the UK, what was it, 3 times, and then he's meeting with the king, and then all of a sudden Prince Andrew gets dumped to the side.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did he show the Epstein files to him and say, hey, you probably need to take care of this situation because these files are in loose hands today? Or are there other world leaders in the Middle East or elsewhere, and are we going to see a global economic collapse? I mean, what if one of Saudi Arabia's leaders are on that, right? And they had a close relationship. I mean, this guy is investing trillions of dollars into the United States. He's doing war games at the same time with China. I mean, what does that look like? So I have to trust, in a sense, that President Trump has intelligence that we don't have, and he's looking out for the best interests of the people. Now, obviously, I want justice for the victims as well. I mean, what happened to them was absolutely horrendous. But does releasing those lists even bring justice to them? Yeah. Right? I mean, obviously, they've had so many opportunities for justice, and the justice system has failed them every single step of the way. And does reading those names outweigh the potential of crashing the global economy? I think those were the decisions that President Trump was weighing.
I can only hope so, because I'm one of those. I want the Epstein list released, and I want them all to burn down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want this world to burn down. I get what you're saying, and I don't even disagree. I've weighed all these options. I've just sort of had to go with the they know something that we don't. Because, and I'll say something else, because I haven't talked about it in a while. But even this last dump, we obviously know that Donald Trump is going to have pictures, and he was friends with Epstein at certain points, just like everybody was. But this last round of pictures with Donald Trump that the Democrats released, if that's the best they could do, I've never, ever once thought that Donald Trump was in those Epstein lists, you know.
Right.
But, you know, it's something that's
he
near
kicked
and dear
Epstein
to me.
out of Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly. He kicked him out.
Right.
And so, you know, I'm willing to take that chance, because I would love to see these people burn down. The people. I don't want the world to burn down, but I do see your point. We have to trust that.
But you know what? They're released now.
They are.
That's great.
Friday,
that was President Trump's promise to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? That's been fulfilled.
And so we're going to go through it, and I've kind of met my plateau over it. We're keep going forward, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, but let's see. Good question there, Mr. Stoker. Oh, Lucretia Hughes. Hey y'all. Hey Lucretia, love you. Richard Schroeder, Hardy Strongback Taylor, Earl Klein, Antonio. All right. Let's see. Sherry Miller. She says shared and thank you for running. Yes, we thank you for running. Oh, Maxwell Britton. Wow. Here we go. He's good. In fact, Maxwell, if you're watching.
Man, he had the big Fire Burns sign up at the Capitol.
So check this out. So I was going through stuff today, and I want to show this for Maxwell Britton, because he really impressed me. But let me make sure you can see this. This is some of his legislation that he had written that he gave me at the convention. It's Bill 5911, the Geoengineering Prohibition Act. Mm-hmm. And I really would like to get him on the show to talk about this, because that's another near and dear to my heart thing. But good to have you, Maxwell.
We talked. Maxwell and I talked about this. I don't know, it was a few weeks back.
Yeah.
100% in favor of carrying that torch forward. Obviously, we don't want any type of geoengineering in our skies.
Well, we got the Clear Skies Act that was, we should be pushing to get into Congress anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at those big floods in Texas, evidence has come out that show that obviously there was some type of activity getting flown around, stuff dumped out.
Yeah.
That has to be illegal and stopped. We cannot play God and win.
Exactly. Well, we all know about HARP and all that. It's crazy to think about that you can't talk about this or you're some tinfoil hatter.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but... Let's see here. I'm just going to go skim through this with Representative Green's resignation, now official in Georgia 14th seat. The future of H.R. 4403, Clear Skies Act. Well, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Which would prohibit weather modification, geoengineering activities nationwide, hangs in the balance. Or, as you are running in the upcoming election, I'm writing to ask whether, if elected, you would be willing to take ownership of this legislature.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're on the same page, Maxwell. Absolutely, that's what we were just talking about. And hey, I would love to do a show with you on that topic as well. I mean, it's near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure you're a Dane Wigington fan. And Dane Wigington's been all over the place, man. He has dropped some major bombs in the last month or so.
Yeah, let's talk about some other legislation too.
Sure.
I mean, I want to make sure we got some term limit legislation.
Yeah, okay.
Term limits definitely need to exist. I'm thinking 2 terms for U.S. Senate, 3 to 4 terms. 4 terms at the absolute max for U.S. Congress.
Yeah.
And then if you're such a good politician, then move on up to a higher seat. If not, get out of the way. And because you get these people in there, they become so entrenched. they completely lose sight of everything that's going on back in the district.
Sure.
I think I saw this and proved it so clearly when we were going after Fonnie Willis, when the border crisis was going on, and we had all these illegal immigrants down at the airport. I mean, these senators, it was like they were living in 1990 and everything's hunky-dory, and they couldn't imagine the fact that the society, the sovereignty of the United States was failing us, and the sovereignty of Georgia had to protect its own citizens, right? And I was just like, maybe if we had term limits, you'd have some fresher folks in here, all about term limits. Also against stock trading. Congress cannot be stock trading.
Right.
Clearly insider trading.
A lot of people are mad about Marjorie Taylor Greene and blah, yada, yada. I didn't like it when Marjorie's trading stock. Did she do anything illegal? Absolutely not. That's the way it's set up. Look, if we want that change and we don't want these people, these Nancy Pelosi stock, apps, we need to stop the stock trading. That's all there is to it.
Clearly insider trading, because not only do they know information that we don't know, which is unfair, but they also have a vote and the power to move things, grant contracts to people. Right.
You get mad about George Soros betting against a country's, monetary, their dollar, and then, but we're not getting, we're going to let, insider trading happen with the Congress. It doesn't make sense.
And then what are these congressmen actually voting on? Are they voting to represent their people, or are they voting to line their pocketbooks with insider trading?
Exactly, to a T.
Yeah.
Okay. Thomas Watts. Hardy says, Colton, how do you feel about this?
The most pro Second Amendment legislator in Georgia. We have a machine gun shoot as our biggest fundraiser every year. Repeal the ATF, repeal the NFA. Two pieces of legislation ready to sign on to.
Yes, absolutely. And don't forget, Hardy and everybody out there, they're going to be coming for the guns. They're going to use every opportunity for all of these, whatever you want to call them, these mass shootings, whatever, if they're false flags. They're coming for the guns. Tim Walz is already trying to make executive orders in his state. I mean, it's going to get real, and don't pretend like George is not going to follow suit. So.
Right.
Thomas White says, have you made it to Rockmart and Cedartown yet?
No, but I am on my way. Thomas, my focus right now is just to raise as much money as possible to get the message out, both digitally, by mail, and other ways. We will be getting to Rockmart and Cedartown very shortly. I've talked to a lot of people in Rockmart and Cedartown. Did get some campaign signs delivered down there yesterday. But no, I haven't physically been there yet. Was in Rome yesterday all day. Certainly on the list. I plan to be in every single county in the district. And if elected, any day that we're off, go to another county. One of the things I really loved about Marjorie Taylor Greene is she would show up in little old Dade County, Georgia.
That's right.
And it was the only time in my life I ever remember a congressman actually showing up in Dade County, Georgia. Yeah. We're the smallest county in the district, right? We always get forgotten about.
Yeah. I agree.
And Rockmart and Cedartown is very similar. Just small places that often get overlooked. But literally, that's where the grassroots are. Those are the people that I represent the most. And got to be rallying the votes down there.
Absolutely. I think it's such a crazy time right now. It's Christmas, and you got New Year's on top of that, and all the stuff you're doing. I can't imagine what all you're going through on a daily basis. So, I think January is probably going to heat up for you big time. You're going to be around everywhere, I'm sure.
No doubt.
So. Okay, Eugene Allison says, I'm running for Georgia State Senate District 18. Hopefully you'll get justice soon. Well, welcome to the show, Eugene Allison. Reach out to me.
Thank you for running for office.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need good people. We need political peasants to be up here and running for these offices.
And I would encourage anybody, run for any office you can. And even if you can't get elected, what you do is you create accountability for that office. If these guys run and they always go unchecked, then they become off the rails crazy.
Yeah.
But if you run for office, you can oftentimes calibrate, even if you don't win, you'll calibrate them back to the right and make them more accountable.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay. Angela Rubino says, what are your thoughts on data centers? So, obviously, we've got a big issues with data centers.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're being encroached with them. What do you think about them?
So, obviously, we don't want anything that's going to infringe upon the liberties of other people, right? That's where I draw the line. I think that's my political philosophy, as most conservatives are. What we're seeing is with a lot of these data centers is all these tax subsidies that show up, and Roy, you know how hardline we've been on fighting all these tax subsidies. There should be absolutely no tax advantage and tax subsidies going to a data center. Right. Okay, and then at the same token, we're seeing where our utility bills are going through the roof because ultimately they're sucking down so much power. I think like Stargate in Texas, it's only 650 acres, and they're using as much power as 750,000 houses. Okay, that's crazy amount of power. So then everyday homeowners who are struggling to put groceries on the table are now have a higher bill to subsidize these. That's not the proper role of government. It should never be that way. And then we've got places like where water, right, where they're sucking everybody's water down. I don't think the water thing is really going to be that big of an issue. In Northwest Georgia, we obviously have more rain than anyone else.
We're on par with Seattle, Washington.
Right. So, and as long as those data centers are, and their water is in a closed loop system, right, and they're not taking any subsidies, and we're not paying a higher electricity bill. They're buying all their own power outright, and those regulations are in place. And then obviously we don't want crazy frequencies coming out and disturbing regular households. We don't want these things, sending no telling what kind of frequencies. I don't know. Right. I need to do more research on that, but obviously this is a big developing issue.
It is, and I'm going to add to that because the problem is that we were supposed to have like security and measures in place, right? We're supposed to have study committees on this. We were supposed to have active sort of parameters in place to work with the public. But we've seen absolutely none of that in the Georgia legislature. We've seen none of it. They've hidden things from us, and now they come to our rural counties to build these 1 million square foot data centers right in people's backyards, and the thing's a done deal before you know about it. I feel like that they're not telling us everything we need to know. I feel like, especially in you going into the next legislative session, that we will get some sort of accountability from our state leadership on this because obviously data is big. We're moving into the artificial revolution, but we cannot let these people run over us with data centers. It can't be done.
Yeah, so. And what bothers me the most, I'm sick and tired of taxpayers' money going to subsidize things that are not the proper role of government.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even. They don't even seem like they're pro-human though. I mean, it's all about artificial intelligence, and I think that scares me because I'm like, well, what are they going to do? And they're just. I often say this: got 159 counties in the state. Why not put a data center in every county, and then you just combine them all together? But we're seeing some counties that are getting 4, 5, and 6 data centers, and it's just very alarming. So I want you to do some research on it and look into it because it's got a lot of us pretty alarmed.
And I would encourage any of your viewers, you got any good information on these data centers, send it my way. Make sure I'm as sharp and as educated as possible.
Okay, yeah. We're going to introduce you to Lee Munns and Christy Miner. So all right. Those are the 2 people that are out there. Good. They got a lot of information on that. But all right. And Ray, I'm going to echo what Ray, our good friend Ray Blankenship, says. We need justice for Colton Moore. I officially, we've got a good bit of people watching this. I am officially calling when we go back into session that they rescind your censure in the state leadership. It may not be about a hill of beans, but I want it rescinded. And I'm going to be reaching out to my legislators in the Senate and telling them that they need, just on principle, to rescind the censure off of you because that just drives me crazy.
Yeah, and I'm out on bail, right?
You're still out on bail.
Yeah, I mean, my liberties can be taken away.
Absolutely.
Which is, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, they violated my rights in 2 ways. Not only did they try to censor and stop my speech.
Yeah.
Okay, but then they also tried to compel my speech by saying if I would just apologize for what I said, that I would get my rights back. So that's 2 clear violations of civil rights.
I tell you what, since I keep getting, I keep seeing all these quid pro quos, right? Like it's election time, and I see so and so say, "Well, all you got to do is elect me, and I'm going to do this." So I tell you what, everybody out there watching. If you are running for office and you are not willing, or at least publicly willing, to rescind my state senator's censure, then I won't vote for you. How's that for my quid pro quo? I'm not going to vote for you. I'll say it right now, proud and loud, that you will not get my vote if you don't at least publicly say that you're willing to rescind my state senator's censure. So, all right, 2 can play at this game.
That's right. Either believe in free speech or you don't.
That's right. Yes, hooray for lifetime member of GGO. I need to become a lifetime member.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that one more time too.
Yes.
Everybody gets all stuck up on the NRA, and what I like about it is all the Democrats think the NRA is actually doing things right, so they always send their targets after the NRA. But the guys who are really doing stuff is GGO, Georgia Gun Owners, the American Firearms Association. These are the guys who are actually moving the needle. They're the guys who are actually protecting our rights, both in the court and in the legislature.
That's right.
And they don't take any fanfare.
Nope.
Right, and they kind of operate almost under the radar, but they need the money that the NRA gets.
Yeah.
They're doing all the work. So if you are an NRA member, take that membership, take it over to the American Firearms Association or Georgia Gun Owners.
I will say this: until Lucretia Hughes is actually the president of the NRA, I won't believe that they'll ever be as effective as Georgia Gun Owners.
Yeah, they just compromise a little more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Nick, all right. Nick Ware, good to see you, Nick. He says, what has ever come about on the film tax credits? Did you ever get shut down? If not, are there still plans to end those credits?
Yeah, so update for you, Nick. The only thing we've accomplished so far is we've exposed it more to an extent where in the budget every year now, every senator, when they open up the first couple pages of the budget, it showcases all the tax credits that we've dished out, including those of the film industry. So no legislator in the Senate now has any excuse to say, well, we didn't know we were giving away that much money to the film industry. But Georgia still subsidizes the film industry 4 times greater than that of any other state. These film companies are coming in here. They've completely changed the culture, not only of America, but also of our state in general. And it's costing the average Georgian close to $300 a year in additional taxes. If we wiped out all of those tax credits, then we could probably lower the income tax by half starting on day one.
Gotcha.
So obviously this is coming up at election season. As many of those politicians as we can get on record to go after the film industry, that's great. And you see these people, they're like, oh, well, the film industry is just getting a discount on their taxes. But it's so much more sinister than that. We're literally subsidizing, even if these film companies don't make any money and they're not producing any value to the economy, we're still subsidizing them. And, you know, obviously we don't have as much money to pay teachers, build roads, pay police officers, because literally we're paying for this garbage to be filmed and brainwash our kids. Yeah,
and it gets worse every year. Oof. Orrin Wang says, what are your views on increasingly out of control federal spending?
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Right.
Think about it. Every time we spend money, we don't have it to spend. So what do? We just print it off.
Yep.
And then that causes inflation, and all the dollar bills that are in your pocket become worth less and less. I mean, you go through a drive-through today, and it's going to cost you $20 to get a decent meal and a dessert, right? No such thing as a dollar menu anymore.
Exactly.
You know, 10 years ago, I used to budget $10 a day for food. That was 3 meals. Okay, it costs $10 per meal right now for one person to eat.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Think about this in the federal spending. If all the money that we've sent to Ukraine so far, divide that by 50, give each state an equal share. We have 159 counties, more counties than any other state besides Texas. So we divide that number by 159. That's going to leave roughly $15 million for little old Dade County, Georgia. Wow. $15 million for Walker County. What would the commission of Walker County do if they got a $15 million check from the
just
federal
a freebie.
government?
I know.
Yeah, you could build bridges with that. You could run a sidewalk from Chickamauga to Lafayette probably.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that, the more context you put it into. Jeez. All right. Meredith says, keep hearing that people around town, Trenton, Walker County, have tried contacting Colton. They have been complaining. They've never get any kind of response. So quite a few supporters are looking at other candidates. If your constituents want to contact you and get a response, what should I say? It's frustrating.
Call the number. It's 423-508-2195. This is in my opinion, an attack that's so commonly used. Sure, it works for every other politician. You can't get in touch with them, but literally, my number is 423-508-2195. You can call it right now. Right here's my cell phone. I'm going to answer it. And if I don't answer it, leave a message. Shoot me a text message.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he doesn't answer, just leave a message.
I mean, I wear myself out to make sure that everyone is heard. So anybody who's saying that, prove it.
Right. Gotcha. All right, Victoria Cruz says, Senator Moore, will you push for passage of your hand-marked paper ballot bill SB 303 when the session resumes? Will you?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's our bill. We're going to
Gotcha.
continue to push it as long as we can. I think from an election integrity standpoint, going into the federal level, I want to push for one-day elections. Okay. One of the things I think we got to be very cautious about is I don't want the federal government to take control of our elections.
Yeah.
So we have to be in defense of that. But if we put up a federal holiday as a one-day election,
Right.
and you had one-day paper ballots, that would
Yes.
be the fairest election of them all.
For a 4th of July or something, right?
Yeah,
Or
4th of July, go vote and shoot off fireworks.
Yeah, machine gun shootout. You do it all in one day. You go vote, you shoot a bunch of machine guns and blow up fireworks. Well, man, there's nothing more American than that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Jennifer Watt, good to see you. Have you seen Sean Harris's FEC report? Act Blue, his #1 donor at $2.5 million. Wow.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. I mean, the radical left lunatics and the rhinos are going to be spending
Absolutely.
all the money they can to stop us.
And there's a link in the comments. We'll get another link up for Colton if you want to donate. And let's see here. We're right at 9 o'clock, so we're going to just do a few more minutes. Sharon Holland, love you. Thank you for watching. Mike Pearden, good to see you. And let's see. I'm looking for questions here because we're going to have to get off here just a minute. Let's see. Brandon Maddox, good to see you. They need to be transparent with the Epstein list regardless of what politicians are taking down. I agree with that, yeah. Let's see. Replying, taking. So I didn't see Bo Brown's comment. Some of these comments I might not be able to see if I'm skipping over you guys. Holly Therese. Wonderful to have Holly Therese. She's such a fighter, man. Colton, in your opinion, should AIPAC register under FARA? Congrats on your new bride and rooting for you in the upcoming election. So
Yeah.
what do you think about that? You think they should
No,
register?
absolutely. I mean,
I
they're
do
the
too.
largest lobby out there.
Yeah.
They have an extreme amount of power. When
Now,
they
wait
used
a
to
minute,
do
wait a
the
minute.
policy.
You're not an anti-Semite, right? Because I'm not an anti-Semite, all right? But you're talking about, exactly.
Yeah, let me
Would
tell
you
you.
agree with
Yeah.
Qatar or any other foreign lobby that they should register, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, just on the same page now. All right.
Absolutely. The thing about Israel
Mm-hmm.
is I support Israel in every way for them to defend themselves and protect their sovereignty. I mean, Israel is God's chosen land. Those are his chosen people. The third temple will be rebuilt. It's all in prophecy. Okay. But at the same token, we're broke. And biblically, you can't take care of somebody else's house if you can't take care of your own
Right.
house. So if it's expanding the Abraham Accords, using diplomacy to help bring more people into there, I'm all about it. If we're sharing intelligence, that's fine. It's not costing us anything. But we don't have the money to give. And quite frankly, Israel has plenty of money to defend itself. I don't think money is that big of an issue. And I don't think. Well, the other thing that really frustrates me about the Israeli lobby is if you disagree with just one little thing, like sending money,
Right.
no, you're an anti-Semite.
Exactly. That's why I said that. Right.
They're really, they're really hurting their cause,
It's
especially.
a Streisand effect, dude.
Yeah.
People, I mean, I've never even thought about this kind of thing. And now you're seeing all this information. It's like you guys are making me look at this information. Like, what happened to this? We love each other and we're going to support each other and all this, but that you're forced to have money and not register. There's a lot of things there to unpack. But
Yeah, when they used to have policy conferences, like 3/4 of Congress would be in attendance. And
exactly.
Congress would literally withhold votes until they got AIPAC's official opinion on whatever the matter was. I mean, extremely, extremely powerful lobby.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they should be registered as well. That's a good question, Holly. Thank you so much. And thank you, Holly, for all the work that you're doing out there.
Let me tell you one more thing about
Sure.
AIPAC, too. AIPAC hires a lot of intelligence agents out of our intelligence community. They literally go up to them and say, hey, this is what you're making with the federal government. We're going to give you more money.
Right.
Just take your skills and your knowledge and come over here. And a lot of times AIPAC literally has cutting edge information and intelligence on the ground even faster than the U.S. government does. That's how powerful they are.
That's scary. So, okay. Let's see. Question for Senator. Florida outlawed geoengineering, but it is still happening in Florida. Is this a federal issue?
Well, with any law, it's who can enforce it. You can pass all the laws you want, but if you don't have the ability to enforce it, if Florida doesn't have a fighter jet to go up there and escort a plane down, it's kind of hard to enforce the law. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the federal government has the capability to enforce the law. The federal government bans this type of geoengineering, and they've got the planes that can escort a plane down and enforce the law.
Absolutely. And so Hardy, yes, he's going to come to Paulding, Dallas, Georgia. I think you're going to see Colton a little bit everywhere. So let's see here. Colton, you were the only one out of 56 state senators. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm going to go down here. I didn't know Alex Soros lives in Georgia.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That's not cool.
Not cool, man.
No. What about, what would you do about China buying our farmland? Now, that's another subject. I think
Shut it down.
Absolutely.
Shut it down. Stop it.
Down. Okay. All right.
Think about every other country in the world, very difficult for foreigners to purchase land.
Yes.
Why is it that in America we have sold away our sovereignty? And that's our food source.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I mean, they already own, like...
Cultural Revolution, anyone? Mao Zedong? I mean,
Smithfield Farms, I mean, what are they going to do when they take over our bacon? Mm-hmm. I mean, my goodness.
Yes. Hardy Strummer says, how do you feel about Islam?
Okay, ban Sharia law, shut it down, not compatible with the U.S. Constitution and free liberties. It doesn't correlate. It's exactly right opposite.
Right.
And these people are very open about destroying American culture. And we're infidels. I mean, clearly the enemy.
Yeah, well, it is. It's very frustrating because I'm talking to people now that are Muslim, and they seem like they're very good people, very, very, very based people that can't believe all this is going on, and it's so crazy because all the narrative, all you see is the Muslims wanting to kill us and stuff, and it's just like we've got to figure out a way. I know they're not all bad, but my goodness, this is getting out of control.
Of course, they're not all bad.
But you see what I'm saying? It's
right.
just like when you see this Sharia law and you see these people and they're saying death to America. It's like, good Lord, man, they need their own revolution against the extremists.
We must recognize too, it's nothing new.
No, been going on
think about
for a
all the
long time.
crusades.
Exactly.
Right? They've heard the word crusades, but they may not know what it's all about. But literally, it's been this exact same battle time and time again.
Agree.
And if you look at Europe and what Europe has done, Europe has just turned itself over to Islam. To such an extreme, and it all starts with those hate crime laws, which I've voted against all the way through. Very dangerous stuff. You're regulating people's speech. I don't know if you saw in the UK, this was probably a month ago now, but you've got these Muslims who are jumping up and down on the top of a police car in protest, and the cops are standing around it, and they won't do anything about it because the guy jumping up and down has a Quran in his hand, and the cops themselves are worried about getting charged with a hate crime.
Yeah, this is absurd.
Out of control. And so Europe wants all this protection from Ukraine, and it's like, you guys have already lost your civilization.
Right.
How many times do we have to go over there and save you?
Exactly. I like it. Richard says, can we get Fonny's vacation money back?
If it was up to me, yes, we would get all that money back.
And,
if it was up to me, Fulton County would be dissolved completely.
You know what? That's
dissolve it completely. Give North Fulton its own county.
Right.
Okay. And then take South Fulton and make it the sovereign county of Georgia, the capital city of Georgia, to where the Georgia just do it just like Washington, D.C. And then the Attorney General, the Governor, and the Georgia Legislature is responsible for South Fulton County.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the reason why the Georgia is like the Dixie Mafia, the most corrupt, what I call ground zero, is because of all these counties that split the capital. It's ridiculous.
Look at Fonnie Willis today. She kept referring back to, well, these people came into my county and committed a crime. Okay, well, literally, how can a legislator go to Atlanta in that capital and represent their people if this crazy woman is going to flex power stronger than that of the state?
Man.
Move the capital out of Atlanta.
Yep.
Give the Capitol building to the Georgia State University and move it back to Milledgeville. Put it in Lafayette, Georgia.
Yeah, right.
But and then here's another thing about Atlanta too. How many times have we had great legislation like banning transgender surgeries for those under 18? I'll go back to that for a minute. And then all these crazy people from Atlanta pack the halls, and the conservatives cower down. They leave the room. And it's like, well, move the capital out of Atlanta because these guys have way too much influence over our politics.
Man, that's fire. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Earl Klein says, Colton, will you pick up the fight where MTG leaves off?
No, absolutely. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to do. We want to fill that void.
Oh, look at that. Matt Gertler says, go get him, Colton.
Oh, man.
Matt is a cool cat. And, I'm not I wish Thomas Massey all the best. I'm not going to hide it. I can't hide it. He's one of my heroes. So sorry. Yeah, I voted for Trump, and I'll vote for Trump tomorrow. But Thomas Massey is one of my heroes. So
Matt Gerler is such a great friend.
Yeah.
When I first got elected, there was this news article that my mom sent me, and she said, "This guy kind of sounds like you." And so I looked him up. I got his phone number. I called him up, and we went over to his place, and we spent probably 3 hours together talking about all these different issues. Mm-hmm. And we ended up renting a house together at the Capitol. And when I first got to the Capitol, the AJC reported the no vote in Georgia has just doubled.
Yeah. That's right.
So Matt and I were two peas in a pod.
That's
Both
good.
of us were fighting for constitutional carry. Yeah. Both of us were leading the fight against corrupt David Ralston at the time. Just an outstanding patriot.
Well, good. Happiness, Ted Metz. Jamie, if you don't mind, send me the presentation about data centers and send it to Colton. I would love to see Ted Metz work on this. We've done a lot of work on data centers, and I don't believe they're good either. I don't like the encroachment on the counties, but I know that they're not going anywhere, and we've got to figure this out. We've got to do it very freaking responsibly. So, but please send that to me. We need laws on AI and data centers. We do. Look, I'm not making any bones here about it, okay? And Colton and I have talked about it, a little bit, because there's a lot going on. Even we didn't know, guys. There was things going on in the legislature that even Colton was in that none of us knew about. All right, we're not getting told the truth about these things, and that's all we want: some transparency with these data centers. We don't want them all in our backyards, and we don't want all of our communities to be ruined by them. We just want to be part of this to figure it out. So that don't even get me started. Okay. My question, pretty please. I hope I got that, Holly. I want to make sure they didn't skip your question. I'm pretty doggone sure I got it. If I didn't, Holly, it's not that question. Just put it down one more time, because we're going to have to let him go here in just a couple minutes. So, yes, Lee is good. Let's see. I'm just going to skim through here. I'm looking for any more questions. I don't want to miss anybody's questions. A lot of good positive comments in here. And I know what Lucretia Hughes is laughing about, and I mean that, Lucretia. You need to go straighten the NRA out and get it more GGO. So,
yeah, let's go.
Anyway, let's see. Holly, if there's, I think I got your comments. But just like I said, post it if I didn't get it. You have always got back with me when I call. Yes, okay, yes. Good stuff, guys. Help me if I'm missing anything. How do you like the new Burt Jones commercials? So, are you keeping track of the Burt Jones commercials?
I haven't seen them.
It's called Georgians for Integrity.
Are they?
Oh no, it's deep dive, bro. So there's this group called Georgians for Integrity, and they're like, I'm talking about like dark money. Nobody can trace them back anywhere. I've even done deep dives with AI, and other people are doing it. Nobody knows where this is coming from, but they're making some crazy attacks on like Burt Jones and stuff. And the Atlanta Journal speaking. I'll show it to you after the show.
Where are these ads?
They're all over the place. They spent like $5 million on ads already, and it's just now lighting up. But
wow.
I think that's what she was. Referring to. How do you like the new Burt Jones commercials? So,
unfortunately, I haven't had time to consume much media.
Yes, I know, and that's the thing. You've been so busy, and I'd have to remind people. Hey, Colton got married this year. He was put in jail this year. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and now you're running for Congress. So it's been a wild year. You want to take a stab at this? Holly says, "Can you give us a high level understanding what's going on in Venezuela?" So, I like this question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? A lot of people have mixed feelings, but just in a nutshell, what do you think?
Man, this is my gut reaction on it. Obviously, President Trump is doing everything he can to boost the economy, right? He's got to get energy prices down. Natural gas has went up tremendously now that the Nord Stream pipeline Russia's not selling any natural gas to Europe. Europe is buying all of our natural gas now. We used to have the cheapest natural gas in the world. Now it's up there on par with the rest of the world. All of our refineries are basically designed for thick crude oil. Most of our fracking produces light crude oil. where is the majority of all the thick crude oil in the entire world? It's in Venezuela. Where are all of our refineries? They're on the coast with Texas and Louisiana. Clear route there. Obviously, I think President Trump has done a great job at stopping the drug trade coming in. Literally, there's no more boats. They're just like, we're not going to boat anymore.
And we have a
We'll
closed border, thank God.
Yeah. And obviously, there's still more drugs coming in. But obviously, that was a big – there's an illegitimate leader of Venezuela. He's taken over the country. He is a threat to the United States. He's selling oil to our adversaries. He's violating all the sanctions.
Okay.
And this leader who was rescued literally out in the ocean, the legitimate leader of Venezuela, I don't know all the intelligence. When elected to Congress, I'm certainly going to apply to try to get that top secret security clearance and get on the House Intelligence Committee. But I don't know all the intelligence. I don't know what President Trump's about to say about that. I don't want to see America drug into a war like Afghanistan or Iraq just for oil. But ultimately, I think that might be what the agenda is. You got to get the energy in America to bring the economy back. And
well, I think, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories that go off in different branches, but again, we've kind of become the grassroots are more like non-conventionalists, right? We don't want other wars, and it just seems like when you kind of look into it, you're like, well, why aren't we making deal? This guy may be a bad leader for say, right? And believe me, Josie Cruz, she can go into great details about this. Obviously socialist, but why we have to, it seems like, is it a color revolution type thing, or why can't we work with them? But I kind of, the more that it comes out, I believe it's a twofold, like you're saying. It's about the drug trade and it's about oil. And
yeah, I mean, Maduro was Chavez's right-hand man, right? And then, I mean, look at the connections of Dominion voting machines and Smartmatic.
That's another thing.
Software, all developed for that.
Well, how many years ago were they talking about Venezuela, right? Back during 21, for crying out loud, and now it's there. So we're hoping we get tenfold. I think. And
these people were sending all of their worst, the drug gangs and everything else, and the emptying out their prisons. We know all of that. I mean, these guys are bad news. If you need a way to define Venezuela as an enemy of the United States, very easy to do. You sent your prisoners to our country illegally. We got gangsters on the streets robbing people. I mean.
Right.
All of that's coming out of Venezuela. That is a problem.
I agree with you. There's a lot to unpack there, but I do agree. So let's see here. All right, guys, I'm only going 3 more minutes, and then we're going to cut it off because we're going to have to ask him what Burt Jones did for him when the House had him locked up.
Yeah, well, I don't have an answer for that.
I think there's a video of that.
There's literally nothing.
There's a video of that.
If Burt Jones is listening, I'm still out on bail.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Guys, y'all have done awesome in the comments tonight. So let's see here. Looks like you'll be in Rome soon. And you're going to be in Catoosa County Saturday night, right?
Yeah, Catoosa County. This Saturday night, 5 p.m., Senator Greg Dolezal and I are going to do a long-form town hall. So come out and ask any questions you have one-on-one. And we're going to be as open and transparent more than any other candidate running for office.
Holly says, did Trump just say he's sending checks?
I don't know. We've been talking. What did he say?
I don't know. Because we haven't seen it yet, but I'm fixing to flip over there in a little bit. I'll probably have to catch a recap. He did say he was going to try to send some tariff checks, which we could go on for hours about, this. David Hopkins says, how you made it through that Fannie Willis hearing with a straight face today.
No, it was a clown show, but it was very serious. Very serious. I mean, many times through that hearing today, I caught myself thinking about the gravity of the whole situation. I mean, here we are in this very room trying to get to the bottom, and you regurgitate all those feelings that you had 2 years ago when Joe Biden was president. We didn't know if President Trump was going to go to jail.
Right.
I mean, we were in a very low and dark place at those times.
We were.
And it was such a blessing. I mean, I had a lot of joy many times today thinking, finally, the good side has finally won.
One more question, Holly. Teresa says, do you support mandatory draft in the event of war?
If it's a war that's declared by Congress legitimately, and the last time that's happened is World War II.
Yes.
But if the president is just saying, hey, we're going to war, no, I don't support mandatory drafts.
Right. Okay, all right. I got to cut it off there, folks. And I said I was going to cut it off at 9:20. We've already went 20 minutes past. Jamie, good to see you. Thank you for all of the questions and everything. I hope that that got you some answers here. There's a lot of work to be done. Obviously, we're going into what's called as a jungle primary. Yes, there are a lot of candidates. Colton Moore is going to be moving over from the state Senate to run for the U.S. Congress. You're still going to be in session, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be in session until I'm legally forced out. I mean, I never missed a vote. I'm going to do everything I can not to miss any votes.
Okay, and somebody asked the website. We're definitely going to get put up in the comments and go back and look at his videos. But I'm going to give you the final word to potential voters out there in District 14.
No, I appreciate it, everyone. Thanks for watching tonight. Reach out to me anytime, 423-508-2195. That's my personal cell phone number. Go to coltonmoore.com/donate and send whatever you can. Keep us in the fight. Literally, you're the only way that we're going to stay in the fight, because all the radical left lunatics are spinning against us. All the rhinos are spinning against us. And if you're not there to help us in the fight, then we're just going to be left to the ditch. So I want to do everything I can to fight for freedom. I think we've proven that over the last few years, and there's a lot more work to do.
All right, guys, you heard it from Senator Colton Moore. We're looking forward to seeing what happens here. I'm sure there's going to be some debates and some cool stuff coming up, and this is your time. 2026 is your time to get involved. Make plans to go down to the Capitol on opening day of legislation. Make plans to figure out what bills are important to you and what you want to see this legislation do in Georgia in 26. And be ready to come out to some of these candidate forums and support the people that you want to vote. Everybody out there should know I don't do endorsements, but I'll tell you this: you vote your conscience. You need to get educated on all these candidates that are running. We got to pick the best one that will do the best job to represent District 14. So, Colton,
thanks, Roy.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Guys, you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all next week.
All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fade to black, and the thought of the wasted dreams of a nation down on its knees. Is it already over? Tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over?